Alright, today we're breaking down Genesis 2 using enduringword.com to break down each verse and connect it with the readings of the NIV. The seventh day of creation. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the seventh day, God had finished the work he'd been doing, so on the seventh day he took rest. He blessed the seventh day because that was the day that he had looked at all the work that he'd done and realized it was good and decided to take a rest. God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. God sanctified the seventh day because it was a gift to man for restarting and replenishing. This goes along the lines with why we do church usually on Sundays or Saturdays, because that is considered the seventh day that God made, the day of rest and worship to him. It's known as the Sabbath day.
Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the seventh day God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day he rested from all his work. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. This is the account of the heavens and the earth when they were created, when the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. Now no shrub had yet appeared on the earth, and no plant had yet sprung up, for the Lord God had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no one to work the ground. But streams came up from the earth and watered the whole surface of the ground. Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Now the Lord God had planted a garden in the east, in Eden, and there he put the man he had formed. The Lord God made all kinds of trees grow out of the ground, trees that were pleasing to the eye and good for food. In the middle of the garden were the tree of life, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river, watering the garden, flowed from Eden. From there it was separated into 4 headwaters.
Created vegetation on the third day of creation, Genesis 1:11-13. Man had not been created to create for the vegetation of earth, and there was no rain. The thick blanket of water vapor in the outer atmosphere created on the second day, Genesis 1:6-8. God made all different sorts of kinds of trees and planted in the middle the tree of good and evil, the knowledge of good and evil. We don't know necessarily if the woman and the man were made at the same time. We assume that the man was made first and was called to be the head of the household and to the wife to submit to him. However, in this case, it kind of specifies that it could have happened at the same time. However, God made the male and God made the female. We can already see all the connections and the symbolism in the Bible as we have just started it, which is why every piece is so important to read verse by verse. The tree of life is symbolic for our eternal relationship with God and choosing that good or evil compared to what we see nowadays with the good in this world and the evil, and knowing that through God all is good, and through anything of that is not God, which is the evil one, the enemy, is the bad tree. The tree of life symbolizes eternal and heaven, relationship with God eternally and in heaven. Into the Garden of Eden to work and take care of it. The Lord God commanded the man, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat of it, you will certainly die." This right here explains the free will that he had known that he could not eat from that tree because there was evil and there was good, and they had all this goodness. It was just one spot of evil. Hey, just avoid it and you'll be good. If you don't, you're gonna die. So this shows that he was put there, he was put to work, and he had all the knowledge of knowing what was going on in the situation, what was good, and what was wrong. And he made his decision. It can be controversial saying that Eve was the one who was tricked by the serpent, ate the fruit, and then gave it to him. However, he was also of free will. He decided to eat the fruit and was also technically the husband of Eve. They were husband and wife, and they are a team together, and two become one flesh. They are one flesh together, and they are a team together. If he had done something, she is a part of it as well. If she does something, he's a part of it, because they are a team.
The name of the first is the Pishon. It winds through the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of that land is good. Aromatic, resin, and onyx are also there. The name of the second river is the Gihon. It winds through the entire land of Cush. The name of the third river is the Tigris. It runs along the east side of Asher. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. The Lord God took the man, and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. And the Lord God commanded the man, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For when you eat from it, you will certainly die." The Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." Now the Lord God had formed out of the ground all the wild animals and all the birds in the sky. He brought them to the man to see what he would name them. And whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. So the man gave names to all the livestock, the birds in the sky, and all the wild animals. But for Adam no suitable helper was found. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep, and while he was sleeping he took one of the man's ribs, and then closed up the place with flesh. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. The man said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame.
When I think of this part of the Bible that explains when the woman was made from the rib of Adam when he fell asleep, a deep sleep the Lord put him in, and it was taken from Adam's rib, made to a woman, I think of all the Greek root and Latin that you can break down, because I think of how our human language was originally made. I think about how other languages are made, such as Spanish, or Latin, French. There's lots of different languages, obviously. And when I've studied Spanish, I've seen that everything is all about the Greek root, and that's how I was able to master Spanish for a bit, because I knew that the root was what was in each word. It was like a segment of that word is kind of what gives you a clue of what the actual meaning is or where it comes from. And sometimes you can see that when the root of that word is secondary, like this is the primary, and then you have that root in the word and it shows some kind of secondary meaning. It may not sound like that makes sense. However, with a simple example, just as the basic words that we may know, like photograph, the primary root is photo, which is light. Secondary root is graph, which means to write or draw. But together, it's a picture drawn or written by light. So it goes together. So when I think of woman, I think of the wo may having some kind of meaning, and the man is secondary to where that source was originally from, because she was taken from the rib. I think of cells dividing and how they have originally that part of where they first came from, but they are made into a new creation. Same with biology. Bio means life. The secondary root is ology, and that's the study or branch of knowledge. Put together is the study of living things. It has that original meaning of the primary root of life combined with that secondary root of logi, which is the study of, and together that makes it the study of living things. Last example is thermometer. It's therm and meter. Thermo means heat. That's the primary. Then you add on to meter, which is the measurement. So you're adding on heat plus measurement equals an instrument used to measure heat. The primary is the original with the secondary added on or from its original source. Thermo is the number one topic, and then you add on to that main part of it what is added on. It's that added definition of meter, which is measurement, which becomes an instrument used to measure heat. Of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. The presence of the tree is a choice for Adam, which we have gone over. So it is symbolic of him knowing that free will, having that choice. He had that opportunity. He could have rebelled. If there is never a command or never forbidden, there can never be a consequence for disobedience. So it's kind of cause and effect. Free will is a gift, and we get to choose God, and that is where we will see the evil or the good, heaven, hell, whatever you want to say. Also goes with God creating the first woman. That's basically all for today. Go to enduringword.com, scroll, breaks down each verse with segments of comments for each individual verse. It is the most broken down thing possible. It breaks down everything. And if you want to learn more about the Greek roots or like Hebrew, if you want to learn the Hebrew roots, I recommend reading a study Bible, getting a study Bible. I have a nice one. It's very expensive. And on the side it gives little notes about the Hebrew roots and may help you learn more about the origins and why things are the way that they are, and more about like the poetry and about the symbolism and the whole reason. It sounds so simple, but deep down God always has a deeper meaning for everything, and it really, we need to wake up and look at it and read it and take it in and understand it, even just the first book of Genesis.